When you first started this, because I don't know how long you've been doing the child free, I won't say angle, but you know what I mean for. But like, how are the conversations different than, let's say, when you're approaching a more standard family dynamic for clients?
Yeah, by the way, I'm going to call you out on this. When you say family dynamic, one of the things I always call out for people, we have families, we just don't have kids. Okay. It's just a different, alternative family structures, other
Right.
things.
Fair enough.
And when I started, so I went to become a CFP. And the thing that surprised me is there's absolutely zero mention in any of the CFP literature of having no kids. There's pre-kids, post-kids, empty nest, but it just doesn't exist.
Right.
So I started looking at it going like, are we weird? And I was really asked about me and my wife, and we're weird, and we have two PhDs, and we sit around at night talking about research studies. So we're kind of weird, but like, are we weird for being child free? And what happens is the answer is no. There's a large child free population. We're normal within that subset. When I started, I actually originally had my firm. I had two websites and two names, one for parents, one for the child free folks. And eventually I was like, let's just focus on my niche and, get there. And what I found is as I've dove deep into this, I do a lot of podcasts. A lot of times people will reflect on it and go, okay, child free folks are trying to figure out meaning of life. Where do I want to go? Trying to let their life drive their finances, trying not to let their finances drive their life. They're trying to think about long-term care and end of life issues. And a lot of folks go, well, parents should worry about that too. Like, you're right. We just as child free folks know we have to because we're kind of forced in that direction. And it's just a different approach. I mean, everybody says in finance, something like 80% of your success is behavioral. Well, that's where we spend our time. We're helping people on how do you think about money in a different light because everything says you have to do it this one way.
Right.
The real truth is everybody should be having their own individual plan that reflects them and their life goals. It's just easy to fall into the standard script and standard boxes.
Well, and people that found you, are they happy that someone is actually catering to them? And, like, is there, yeah, I'd love to know how those conversations are going. Like if people are finding you and like, thanks for serving us specifically.
Yeah. So I had somebody email us a couple of days ago. I have a contact form and he emails and he says, look, thank you so much for writing the book. He says, he's from a Hispanic family, very heavily about having kids. He says, he was trying to figure out his own life. And he's like, I finally found that there are other people struggling with this and it's okay. And that's huge. We've actually tracked it in about a third of our intro client meetings, first time meeting people end up in tears. And I was like, well, why? And I had to do a little soul searching on this. And the answer was because it's the first time they really feel heard. Because they'll go to a financial planner and say, well, I'm child free. And they're like, well, you'll change your mind.
Jesus.
Or, your plan's the same as anyone. Don't worry. And they just get burnt because of the judgments. Or we can get the worst, they start judging, I had a discussion with a planner who was like, we need to have come to Jesus meetings with people to talk about their having kids. And, in case the clock's running out and how are they going to save their eggs? I'm like, none of your business. And that's the difference. It's not just the financial difference. It's the approach, the understanding, the accepting. There are a few other folks that serve child-free people and not necessarily as a primary thing, but like they serve alternative lifestyles, LGBTQ plus, or somebody who does tiny houses, people that live in tiny houses, like alternative lifestyles, they fit. But it's just a matter of understanding, hey, the standard financial planning process doesn't work. And it's a group. It's one of the last underrepresented minority groups that it's okay to judge right now in some eyes. The politics around reproductive rights and all that are strong. And I mean, I had to change my firm after the Roe overturned for privacy concerns for my clients. There's a whole bunch of issues. And all of that comes across in financial planning.
Wow. I wouldn't have thought that people would have been that emotional speaking to a financial planner about that, but it does make a lot of sense that you're one of the only people that isn't trying to goad them into having kids. Like it's bad enough when family's trying to get you to do that. Now you go to a financial planner or some stranger and he's like, oh, you're going to have kids soon. And you're like, go fuck yourself. I don't want kids.
You're right on it. And we're getting it all the time.